Spain faces a snap election in April after lawmakers in Europe's fourth largest economy failed to agree on a draft budget plan last week. Well, Willem joins us in studio and you've been watching this very, very closely. Spain is in election mode, but what does that mean at this point?
Well, it means a lot in terms of how the different parties that are competing start to position themselves on some of the key issues, especially, it seems, Catalonia. I had a chance to sit down with one of the Spanish ministers for trade, industry and tourism, REYES MAROTO, yesterday, and I asked her whether she thought that the criticism of the Sanchez government that over the last 8 months represented an opportunity cost was valid. Here was her answer.
I think we formed a government in a very legitimate way with a very clear vision for the country. A vision to modernise Spain, which was necessary after the 7 years under the Partido Popular government. Their policies focused on clamping down on people's rights, and there was also a huge absence of economic policies. In these last 8 months, we have started a motion to get Spain functioning properly again. We have activated many mechanisms of collaboration, and this has also allowed us to create a blueprint up to 2030. This strategy will concentrate on the tools necessary to modernise Spain, to make the most of the technological advances we are seeing around us, and also the changes necessary for the environment, which will play an important role. So if you look at the overall picture, the outlook for the blueprint is extremely positive, and the critics don't really have an argument as they are yet to put their motions on the table.
Would it not have made more sense, though, to have called these elections earlier, given that you're now facing this situation where you have to call the elections because you can't pass your spending plans?
I don't think so. We needed to change the country's direction from the policies set by the Partido Popular. This has also allowed us some time to show the Spanish people that you can govern in a different way, a manner with more dignity. This is why the no confidence motion was called. The Partido Popular were convicted with corruption charges, but we also had to think about the most vulnerable people in our society and the changes necessary around this. This is why these last 8 months have been positive, and we want to keep working to improve the lives of the Spanish people.
So that's the government side, and of course, when you look at what's going on in Spain, Catalonia is going to be a key focus of this campaign. All the politicians I've spoken to over the last week or so have acknowledged that. And so we thought it was worth talking to the Catalan side to try and get their perspective. Unfortunately, yesterday in Madrid, the president of the Catalan parliament, a man called TORRENT, was in Madrid. We caught up with him yesterday after that interview, and I asked him whether he thought that the elections would really change anything, what he hoped to see from this campaign.
Yo espero que sí.
I hope it changes not only the situation in Catalonia, but also the vision in Spain. For also, from the perspective of building electoral majorities in Catalonia, the need to talk, to negotiate a complete political solution to the conflict that exists right now in Catalonia in relation to Spain. It's true that these elections pose a risk created by Pedro Sanchez and the risk of the rise of the extreme right, the three parties on the extreme right. But either way, the ballot box represents an opportunity to create a significant majority and a grand consensus, like the consensus that exists in Catalonia, focused on the need for dialogue and the search for a solution to this conflict. And we hope that this majority will also translate to the whole of Spain.
And just by way of context, of course, it was two Catalan separatist parties in the central Madrid parliament that forced, in his own words, Pedro Sanchez, the Prime Minister, to call this election. So really key to see how they're going to position themselves in this campaign, and whether, if the socialists end up regaining power after this election, whether they take the same approach to Catalonia, given all the criticism they received over their negotiations.
It seems though Sanchez, though, has made a little bit of mileage, or had a bit of, good luck, I guess, from actually being in the leadership position. There was a feeling in Spain that Rajoy had been in charge for so long, but was there anyone capable of running the country other than his party and Rajoy? Right. Sanchez being in power for a number of months has shown that it's not been a disaster. Surely that must be good news for his re-election prospects. And
I spoke to REYES MAROTO, the minister there, about that and what they were going to try and campaign on. And she listed a series of these achievements that she said that they have in government over an 8-month period. And the challenge is, because they haven't been able to pass a budget, they can't point to their own economic spending plans and say, well, we've done this. A lot of it's been sort of prime ministerial decree and trying to move the needle on a very, very sort of narrow margin in terms of what you're able to do in that parliament.